Hello and welcome to the Knock On KCLR Sports Weekly Rugby Podcast. Back with the full crew this week. We have Tom Crotty, Paddy, Browne. Lads, how is going?
All good, Stephen.
All good.
Hi, Stephen.
Yeah.
All good.
How's it going? We were kept busy the last couple of weeks, of course, with the Six Nations, I was going to say. The Autumn International Series and everything like that. A good look at a couple of players from the provincial point of views. But you were busy on your own patches as well. Plenty going on. Tom, we'll start with you and Carlow this week. What's the story?
Right. I'll belt on. Just before I go further, we missed out on a game last week. Our senior development side, our J3 side, played a friendly Monday week gone against the SETU. It was sort of their second team was a mixture of kind of the SETU's second team and some of their younger players, some of the freshers. We bet run out down there. The final score was 36-15 to Carlow. But it was lovely on a Monday night. It was a very, very big crowd. So I just want to say thanks to Johnny for helping organise that, because we had a lot of players who weren't getting game time, and it was fantastic to get a run out for them. And I have to say the grounds in the SETU were absolutely stunning up in the Kilkenny Road. And while we're on, we'll say congratulations to Johnny and the SETU Carlow, who won the league. I know they lost narrowly to Garda in the final game, but there's all three clubs involved, Tullow, Carlow and Kilkenny players on that team. So huge congratulations to them on winning the colleges with the Colleges League. Right, on to last weekend. Two very good wins. We played Suttonians at home. The seconds had a massive win, 62-12. To be honest, Suttonians' seconds were quite weak, so I think there were 6 tries up after a few minutes. I think most of the team, to be honest, there's not a whole lot they can go into saying with the seconds. They went out with fire in their belly, and they blew them away within the first quarter of an hour of the game. And huge congratulations to them. They're kind of hanging in there in the league. There's only a couple of points, but that league is really, really tight. And I think they're third now, and there's only a couple of points between them and fourth. So there's still lots to play for in that seconds league. And they'll have a tough one now against Seapoint this weekend. I think Seapoint could be on top of that league. So they just need to go out and Seapoint give them a beating up in Seapoint in that game, in the first game of the season, but it'll be a lot weaker side that's playing was playing then against the side that's going to play on Sunday. So look, if they go out, and they'll have to go out and play their best to beat Seapoint. They said they're a very good second side, so we'll just wish them the best of luck on that. Our J1s had a really, really strong win against the Suttonians. It was an absolutely cracking game. We lost Ross Byrne, our tighthead prop, just at the warm up. So Keelan Fitzhenry, who was having a really good game on the seconds, we had to pull him and bring him onto the bench for the firsts. And when he came on, actually, he did very well for us. So it was a thanks to Keelan for stepping up and coming down after playing nearly, I think, about 3/4 of the game in seconds, and then came down and, as I said, tugged out for the first. No, it's a good game. We started off with a penalty. Ben kicked the penalty to make 3-0. Then Sean Quinlan they came down the park, but we got a couple of turnovers on them, and then kind of worked our way up, and Sean Quinlan scored fine try, and Ben converted, so it was 10-0. Then we got a very silly try. Just a defense kind of opened near the post, and they just snuck in. It was just poor defense. It was just switched off for a minute. As I keep saying, with that 1A league, if you make a mistake, you get punished, and it was kind of a silly mistake by us. And they got a try. It was 10-7 then at half time. We were dominant in the lineouts and dominant in the scrum. The second half started off with Ben we got 2 penalties, one scrum penalty, and we converted both of those, so we were 16-7 up. Then Suttonians snuck in, came back down and snuck in for a try. It was 16-14. Then again, like it was turnovers and scrum penalties, and that we worked our way back up the field, and John Lyons were taking the ball very close to the line, so we hammered their line for a while, and then John snuck in under the post for a try, so it was 23-14. Then Suttonians came back with a try and converted it again. They got all 3 conversions, so it was 23-21. It was really squeaky bum time. But again, like, I have to say, our defence was phenomenal. Wes got a yellow card. The ball was on the ground in a ruck, and he was looking at it, and then couldn't resist putting the hand out and got pinged, and then got a yellow card for his But look, Wes had an absolutely storming game from start to finish in the lineouts. His ball carrying, he's just been the leader on the field. The old head. I have to say, it's probably one of the best games I've seen him play. But we worked back down the corner, and we got a penalty. And there was 30 seconds left. It was 30 seconds left to go when we got the penalty, and Ben slotted it over. Took the time to slot it over, and it was game over. Huge improvement in performance from the lads. It was a real Carlow performance, not pretty, as in it's just hard slog from start to finish. There was a really strong defence. Scrums were on point. The lineouts were on point. I think we took a couple of balls off them, put pressure on them in the lineouts. They threw a couple of balls over the back of the lineup, which we picked up on. They had a couple of missed throws. So it was a huge performance by it. I have to say, it's one of the better performances I've seen them in a long time. But we needed it to fight our position in the league, and every point counts. So I suppose every game at the moment is a cup match. And it's not taken away from Suttonians. They were a very solid side, and they were dogged right to the very end themselves. Every time we made errors, they pinged on it, and so. But I think it was our own determination more so than anything else to win that game. As I said, like, there was so many. Dave McDonald in centre was so good. That young Alan Owens at scrum half definitely had the best game of the season. His box kicking, his tackling, huge improvement on since he started. I think 1 to 20 played, even the subs that came on. Cormac McElliott came on and just added bulk to, what we needed, his bulk and coming on off the bench. And Conor Tracy was phenomenal at number 8. Just every ball carry he made ground, causing hassle, causing trouble. But it was probably, as I say, one of the better performances Park in a while, and that's what we needed, and to give the lads had a bit of belief. So to beat a top 3 team is huge for us, because it'll hopefully give us that bit of confidence coming into the next game. We have to put that behind us. Another massive game now. We're playing Seapoint second in the table. That's going to be a really tough game. They absolutely blew us off the park, open Seapoint in the first game, but the team will be far stronger this time around. We were missing a good few starters that day, and I'd say we weren't expecting in the first game physicality, and as I said, like, continue to say that you make mistakes, you get punished, and we got punished up there, but it wasn't as if like we were still strong in the scrum against them, but we had so much to improve on since then. But we're looking forward to the game. We have great respect for Seapoint, as I said. Like they're a good side, and we're expecting hopefully it'll be another ding-dong battle. But I think it's our own coming into this game. It's going to be a mentality thing. How do you pick yourself up after such a good performance this week, last weekend, to turn it around and get your head in the right place and your mental thoughts towards this game in the right place. The team itself is near enough the same. I think we've only one injury since last week, one out. But look, the squad is good. Nobody has let us down. Since the start of the season, said like everyone is working hard, and that's why we're having the games against the college and stuff. Just trying to give everyone a game because there's so many guys coming up training week in, week out. So hopefully now we can do the business. We need to get a minimum point out of it anyway. But it is the goal we have to go out and win that game to hopefully stand a chance to make sure that we get in a position to stay up this year. But as a performance, and as I said, as a performance, how the team is running, it's there's no comparison to the team that stood out in the first game of the season and the team that's playing now. So hopefully we get we're praying for a big crowd up on Saturday to give us it was a great crowd on Sunday, and it does help to have them there. The lads really appreciate it, and we appreciate all the supports that came out last Saturday, and hopefully we can grab them again to come out this Saturday and support the lads. That's really it from the senior point of view. There was no ladies game. The ladies they're training away. I don't think their next game is till after Christmas. It's a bit of a pain with the league that they had a game. They were supposed to have a game last weekend, but it was postponed till a later date. On the youth section, then the under-18 Rhinos had a really, really good win against Navan, 27-7. That was away in Navan. That's the first round of the Phase 2 of the Leinster League, so they're off to a good start. The under-16 Rhinos lost to a tie in a friendly. The under-14 Rhinos had no game. Our under-14s lost to Dundalk 48-12. And our under-16s played a great game against Clonmel, and they've won 31-17. Then after that, the minis played Tullow in Carlow. There was a huge crowd from both clubs on Saturday morning. It was brilliant to see all the kids out. There was some fantastic rugby. I got to see a small little bit of it, and it was great day out for both clubs. It's just great to see the amount of kids that are playing in such a small county. Two clubs, and there's a massive amount of children running around on a Saturday morning. It was a pleasure to have. That's really only. We have, I suppose, on a social point, we have our Christmas party on Saturday night, and open to everybody's welcome from 7:30. But it's going to be a long day because the senior game, the J2s are out at 12:30. J2s are out at 12:30. The J1s are out at 2:00. Then they're showing the Munster game in the bar. I think that's at 5:30. So if you want to come early for the Christmas party, the bar is open basically all day, but the party starts at 7:30.
Be prepared.
Be prepared. Yeah, it was hard enough. It was a fair few Lucasades drank last Sunday night. So
remember, lads, it's a marathon, not a sprint.
That's it. Hopefully it'll be a good day. I just run through the youth fixtures just for the weekend, just for anyone that's around. The under-14s are away to Tullamore. Under-14 Rhinos are away to Tullamore on Saturday at 12:00. The under-16 Rhinos no game. The under-18s are home to Wolves on Saturday at 1:00 in Tullow. The boys under-13s are away to Longford at 12:30. The under 14 boys has been postponed. The under 15 boys are waiting along for the 12:30. Under 16s are at home on Saturday at 4:00. The under 18s Amber are home to Balbriggan on Saturday at 12:00, and the under 18 Black are home to Naas at 3:00. So a full round of youth fixtures, and hopefully the pitches will hold up, because at the moment they're like a swamp. We're actually training in the college tonight because our pitches are just.
A fair drop today, all right.
Well, it's just a pitch. Anyone who has a grass pitch at the moment, it is keeping their fingers crossed. Hopefully everything will be all right for Saturday and Sunday. That's all.
Lovely. Just for context, we're recording this on a Thursday, folks, in case you think we're gone mad and you're listening to some other yeah, it's a fair amount of rain around today. James, you're going to talk all things Kilkenny.
I am, Stephen, but for those of us watching on video format, I just have to congratulate you on your cup, on your mug there. See Bosco on it, so have to say it's.
I got it as a present a few years ago for Easter, because I had the original one back in the day. I think my mother got me that for the crack.
Yeah, we're not talking about the butchers in Carlow now for anyone on that are listening. We're talking about the puppet with the red hair and the stripy top.
Yeah, there we are now.
That's it. I miss nothing. Yeah, look at all things Kilkenny now. Where will I start? Yeah, look back on last weekend. A quiet weekend, really. There was only 4 youth games and a women's game. I get into it all now. The under 18 girls, who have been on a bit of an upward trajectory in the last few weeks, had a loss away to Naas, but their results are getting kind of the margin of losses for them. When I'm saying when I say they're on an upward trajectory, the margin of losses are coming down and the performances are getting better. So kind of met Pete Hart there, the coach there a few weeks ago, just out in the club, and he's massively impressed and kind of very happy with how the progress of the 18 girls is coming on. But yeah, as I said, lost 31-24 and to Naas. Under 16 boys had an 18-13 win over Gorey. The under 13 boys, who have been having a good season, in fairness to them. It's not easy to step from kind of from minis into youths, but they lost at 24-12 to Navan. But slowly but surely they're building. Our women's team have been on a good run of late. Had a 24-7 win over CYM, coming in off the back of a very unfortunate loss to league leaders Edenderry. Losing out to Edenderry just by just a couple of points at home there the week before. So they're having they're up to, I think they're up to 4th or 5th in the league now, and a lot to play for the women. In that game against CYM, scores came from Leah McCarthy, Eve Cronin, 2 tries from Eve Cronin, and the bonus point try by ever reliable Jenny Kerwin, and Emily Kenny kicked a couple of conversions there as well. CYM got a kind of consolation try late in the game. Kind of game was over. That pushes them up to 4th place now in the league on 15 points. They're 5 points clear of Ashbourne and Tala, who are just behind them, and they're 5 points behind South East Lions. So it's all to play for there, but Edenderry appear to be kind of running away with that league at the moment. I think they're out on 33 points or something like that now. So it's great. Kind of said earlier on in the year that if the women can consolidate their position in that league in Division 3 and build through for next year, that'll be all to play for. So it appears, based on performances at the moment, that they will consolidate their position there. And I think the coaching team there, Paddy, the 2 Joes and Victor, can take a little pat on the back at the moment, because they refined game plans a little bit, to simplified it down, and the girls are starting to get getting results on that. So look, at fair play to them and credit to them. Our minis had a full program of games against New Ross last week. Our 7s, 8s and 9s went to New Ross, and our 11s and 12s hosted New Ross in Kilkenny. So it was great. I'm more involved in minis this year myself than anything, but one of the things that I'm noticing is the strength of the mini section in the club. It's actually phenomenal. Like, they have 30 plus players in each group, from 7s the whole way to 12s. And it's a bit hard to manage. I'm in with the under sevens myself, and it is a little bit of crowd control at times. But you have to say that they have to start somewhere. But one of the kind of hard things for us to manage is with the numbers that we have. Not all of the mini sections around the southeast have equal numbers. So when it comes to playing a game, you're trying to facilitate 25, 26 of our players to play against 11 or 12 of other teams. So it's hard, but we're doing our best as coaches across to make sure that everyone's getting game time. And, I think it just bodes well for the future. But just kind of credit to all of the coaches in the mini section, because it's not an easy thing to do. And we have, as I said, 30 players in each age group and about 7 or 8 coaches per age group. So it's great to see that work going in. Little bit of off the field stuff. Your club, your country ticket sales went incredibly well again for the club. I think we just sold over 1,000 tickets again this year. And thank you to all of the buyers, all of the sellers, particularly Mick O'Donovan, Vinny O'Shea, and Raymond Pembroke, who every year just step up and come out with books of tickets. We get our own tickets printed sometimes, trying to sell them online, push them online, and it's an important fundraiser for all 3 clubs. But we make a concerted effort every year to make sure that we sell at least minimum 1,000 tickets, and we've achieved that again this year. So thanks to everyone and credit to everyone for that. Another fundraiser that's been run in the club is our minis. Through the minis section, they're selling Christmas trees. Some of the minis teams led by the under 12s. So tickets can be purchased or pre-ordered on Club's app. It's €50 for a 6-foot tree. A 7 to 8 foot tree is 60 quid, and a 9 to 10 foot tree is 70 quid. So if anyone wants to buy their Christmas trees, there's going to be a lot of them out in the club there on Sunday, or pre-order them, as I said, through the Kilkenny RFC section on Club's app. 2 player profiles and a member profile this week can be seen on our socials and on our website. The 2 player profiles is Karen Delaney from our women's team, 25-year-old back rower. Cormac Fox from our under 16 boys, a little bit of a legend in the club, to be fair to Cormac. If my memory serves me correctly, he was also a star of a toy show about 6 or 7 years ago. What else? Members profile is of Noel Devlin, our club CCRO. He needs no introduction. Yeah, all that kind of news and info is on the website and on our socials. Busy weekend coming up. Very, very busy weekend, in fairness, coming up. I think most teams are out on Saturday. Our under 13 boys travel to Portlaoise for a 12 o'clock kickoff. The under 18 boys are away to Midland Warriors. The under 16 girls are away to the Wolves. That game is on in Clondalkin. I think the Wolves are a combo team between Newbridge, North Kildare, Clane and Clondalkin. So that game is on Clondalkin at 12 o'clock on Saturday. The under 14 girls are away to Naas, again with a 12 o'clock kickoff. The under 15 boys have Scorty at home at 2 p.m. and the under 14 boys have Mullingar at home at 2 p.m. That'll be a tit-for-tat game, telltale game, because the under 14 boys beat Mullingar away a few weeks ago. So be interesting to see how that goes. But that's the Saturday fixtures. On Sunday we have women's have a game, have a day off, but I suppose it's probably one of the most important league games of the season for our first welcoming Mullingar. But before that, the seconds have a home tie against Mullingar as well, kicking off at 12:30. Very important game for the seconds. They've had an up and down season, but they're coming back in on off a good win over Kildare a couple of weeks ago. Tough game. Kildare apparently had been having their difficulties at J2, but in fairness to them, they seem to have brought in a few young fellas, and they gave a really solid performance. So in fairness, Kilkenny had to work for their win there, but look at how whenever it's just onwards and upwards for them. Our first 15, it's going to be a really important game. We were well beat by Mullingar in the opening day of the season, so we're kind of, as we would say, we're starting phase 2 of the league now. So the one thing that I think Kilkenny supporters will be asking for against Mullingar is a better performance than what came out against Kildare. Kildare are from how they played against us, they're not a team that deserve to be at the bottom of the league. Maybe we played poorly. Maybe Kildare played well. I don't know, but we were poor against Kildare. It was just a disjointed performance, similar to Dundalk. Like we went ahead, we let them back in. We went ahead again, we let them back into them. We could have lost it at the end. So, you know, against them. So I think Kilkenny supporters will be looking for a little bit more alignment in the performance this Sunday. You know, we can't be disjointed. Everything has to go well. Like Mullingar are top of the league, and rightfully so. They're a good team. They're getting their performances right. They're getting their balance right. So I know some Kilkenny people be looking kind of for some positional changes in the squad, in the 15 potentially, but at the end of the day, Corey's doing a bloody good job coaching that team, and they just have to front up and bring the performance now. So yeah, it's kind of like we are going to be the underdogs coming into it, but you know, just as I always say, if you can get early parity against any of these teams, get a couple of early penalties or an early try on the board, anything can happen. But Mullingar are going to be coming down here with the bit between their teeth, looking to, I'd say in their own mind, they're probably looking to say we're going to come away for Kilkenny with a bonus point win. I think our lads, if they bring their performance and bring an 80-minute team performance, because that's what they've not really done all year, is bring that 80-minute team performance where everybody is on the same hymn sheet for 80 minutes. If they do that with the talent that we have on the field, I don't believe there's any reason why we should be underdogs, you know. And maybe we're lacking a little bit of self-belief. I don't think they should, because our team is full of really good rugby players on paper when you go through it. Guys that have played AIL, guys that have won AILs, guys that have gone away, come back to the club. We have fellas there who albeit not tier 1 internationals, but we have guys who are in our squad who have international experience, and with, I suppose, Dave O'Connor there with Finland, Axel with Norway. I know, look, it mightn't be the heights and the shining lights of tier 1 or tier 2 international rugby, but just get that performance right, and then you kind of look from those guys back down through the team. You have young Jack Campion there. You've a lot of other young fellas in the squad, so just we just have to get it right. And whatever I say here on this podcast is going to have no influence on the game, but if as Kilkenny Rugby Club supporters, if we were to ask our first 15 to do one thing, it's just bring that team performance, because they've been bringing the heart. You can see it in them there. It's not for a lack of not trying. They're trying, but just the cohesion or the alignment doesn't seem to be there in the performances so far. So Mullingar at home is going to be a hugely important game for us, and one that I guess we have to try and win. But before I finish up, just on a serious note, there's a missing person, a member of Barn Hall, Justin O'Connor, who hasn't been seen since Tuesday. Just holding up a picture there for anybody who knows or has any information or anything like that. It's gone wild on rugby socials over the last few days, just for help or a little bit of help in that. So if anyone knows where Justin might be or have any information, contact 086 371 5104, because it's
Absolutely.
nobody wants anyone missing this time of year, any time of year, particularly for the loved ones. So if anyone has any information on that, just contact that number.
Absolutely, James. I've seen it shared on social media circles there the last few days. Hopefully he's found safe and well anyway. And as you heard there, James, get out the number, and if you spot anything or see anything like that, just do get in touch with the Gardaí and whatever. James, thanks a million.
No worries.
Thanks
Over to the man of international mystery now, Paddy Browne, who has been, I won't ask you where you were this week, but I'm starting to wonder, Paddy, are you working for the Secret Service or something? Like, is this, should we
like around
the name is Browne, Paddy Browne.
Well, James, all I can say to that, the level of slander now is a bit improved when you accuse me of being the Ross Kelly of Tullow. So I'll take that. Okay.
So you're the James Bond of Tullow now.
Lads, That's good stuff. Yeah, it's very rare we have Paddy in his own office doing the podcast, but we'll take it. Paddy, how's it going? How are you
Very good,
keeping?
Stephen.
Good
Very good,
stuff.
Stephen. Yeah, I am just in from my travels as well. I was in Budapest for a few days, but I'm back to the dreary weather here in Carlow Town, which is certainly it's an awakening, certainly, or a coming down to earth. There's no doubt about that. Yeah, but I did make the matches at the weekend. I was up in Blanchfield for our 2 matches, and which I'll be talking about in a moment. So I was very happy to fit those 2 fixtures into the schedule.
Excellent. Yeah, go ahead. Give us a rundown.
I'll go ahead, so Stephen, if that's okay with you. Yeah, we sent up our first and our seconds men to Bective, to Donnybrook on the 3G pitches. They're both 3G pitches were in use, the seconds and the first, and we both. I haven't any good news to report. Both our teams got roundly beaten, and I'll talk about the table in a few minutes, but it certainly has implications for the table. I am going to outline a number of injuries and people that were missing and excuses, but really I'm not making excuses. Bective were very strong in both first and seconds, and by far the better team won in both matches. So I want to make that quite clear before I get my excuses in. The seconds had a very young team out, and they were beaten 63-20 in the end. It was quite a competitive match, I'd say, up to 10 minutes into the second half, and we had a very depleted panel. We'd only the bare 15, and we had a few injuries, and actually ended up with 11 players, and the ref even blew it up a bit early, so no harm that he did. But I have to say, until such time as we did run out of men and bodies and steam, it was a very good match. Now, Bective really had a very strong seconds team out, and it was very, very good quality rugby. I was saying to some of the guys, it would be, in my time, it would be in first standard. Like, it was really fantastic. And some great scores from both sides. Tullow had a young team now. Paul Canavan isn't young anymore, but he played a very reliable game again. But in Tom Hughes,
he won't like you saying that, Tom.
Well, he's not really a veteran yet, I suppose, James, but he's heading in that direction. But no, but they had a few young guys, Tom Hughes and Tom Nolan there, Keane Leonard and Cathal Bailey, they played very well as well. So those lads, they really showed up and did their best. But it was, they ran out of steam and they ran out of bodies. And but I have to say, it was a really sporting and exciting match, and fair play to both sides. And the first then played on the main pitch in Donnybrook with the stand under the. It was another well hammering, you could say. 42-19 was the final score, and now I'll get the excuses in. We were missing a good few guys due to injury, so we're missing Darragh Cosgrave, Adam Johnson, Jack Johnson, Daniel Culleton, Tom Cashin also, who was ever reliable, but he was there, but he's getting married next Saturday, so he didn't want to take any risks. So the best of luck to Tom next Saturday. Peter Burgess are out half. Failed the fitness test just before the match, so there were 6 or 7 key players missing, and it certainly didn't help our cause. So the actual team then was Scott Callback, Brian Keogh, Fiach Kavanagh in the front row, Colm Gorry, Martin Cole in the second row, Jack MacDonald, Fiach Byrne and Stevie Smith in the back row, Gareth Fitzgerald scrum half. Peter Burgess was to start at out half, but Ryan Jordan had to move into out half, and the rest of the back row that line then was Ryan O'Neill, Jack Hanlon, Tyg Walsh and Will Bryan. And on top of that litany of injuries, both Jack MacDonald and Tyg Walsh went off with injuries during the first half. So while we had reasonable subs there, we certainly had to dip into the subs panel a lot before and during the match. Tullow were competitive up to about 5 minutes up to half time. The score was 14-all, and Tullow got 2 good tries from Martin Cole and Gareth Fitzgerald, both converted by Ryan Jordan, but it all turned horribly wrong then. Our line-out didn't function at all, and our tackling fell off then at that point too, and they got 2 converted tries. Bective got 2 converted tries just before half-time, so the half-time score was 28-14. They continued on where they left off in the second half and got another try early in the second half, 35-14, and got another try halfway through the second half. Now, we did finish strong, and whether suppose Bective could take the foot off the pedal a little bit to have their bonus point win at that stage. But we did get a try, an unconverted try with a few minutes left, and that left the final score 42-19. But look, at between all the injuries and between, you know, just not performing on the day, the line out just didn't work, and we missed more tackles than we should have had. So it was the better team certainly won on the day. And that's all we can say about that, really. So hopefully those injuries, we've another big game away to Ashbourne next week, and Ashbourne certainly at the bottom of the table. So if we don't take something out of that, we really will be in trouble. Talking of the table, Tom didn't mention it there, but that great win for Carlow put them ahead of us on points. They're on 12 points now, and we're on 11, and Ashbourne are down on 4, and I think Athy had a good win too, and they're up to 19 now. But the Bective people were very delighted with Carlow, because before this match, Suttonians and Bective were on level on points. So the Bective guys in the changing room after, or in the bar afterwards, were realised that Carlow had done them a big favour. So they're now 5 points ahead of Suttonians. So interesting movements in the table. And so from our point of view, we certainly would need to take something out of Ashbourne next week, or we will be in big trouble. Because the rugby stories are not great this week, I'll tell a non-playing story anyway, because it came up last week, because a stalwart from Tullow back from the days was the great Michael Killer Jackman, who's from Tullow and from a big GA family in Tullow, but he's now living in LA, and he did play for Ireland B on a number of occasions, and Ireland B caps that time were definitely the equivalent of full caps now. And Michael played Gaelic football mainly, but wanted to try his hand at rugby, even though it was the time of the ban. And he went over to Carlow's before Tullow reformed, so he went to play in Carlow. And over there, the great Tom O'Brien took Michael under his wing and quickly realised that Michael had the potential to go all the way, and encouraged Michael to go play in Dublin. And Michael did, and he did prop for many years in Dublin. But the quirk on the story was that Tom O'Brien was a stalwart Bective man, and he encouraged Michael, if he did go to Dublin, to go play with Bective. And he gave him directions to get the 46A out from the middle of town and hop off the 46A at Donnybrook Stadium and go into Bective. But Michael's story is that he took the wrong turn when he got off the bus, and instead of going into Bective at the town side of the pitch, he went into Old Wesley on the other side of the pitch, arch enemies and rivals of Bective, and spent a very fruitful career playing with Wesley for many years. And so, to Tom O'Brien's chagrin, that was the end of that story, and the rest is history. But it was an interesting little cameo, and that involved Bective, Carlow, and Tullow. So I just said I'd stick that in there, seeing as the rugby story isn't great. That's more or less it. The women didn't have a match, and their next match is away to UL Bows on the 17th of December. From the AIL point of view, we had a couple of underage matches at the weekend. Our under 13 boys had a massive win, 56-0 away to Tullamore, and made all the more impressive by the fact that there's 40 players there, and they're trying to rotate the players to give everyone games. So it was almost a whole new 15 or 20 that took to the pitch in Tullamore and got a 56-0 win. Our under 14 boys had a good win away to Navan, 26-14, and Tom mentioned the under 18 Rhinos also had a good win in Navan, 27-7. So that's the roundup from our weekend, Stephen. And as I said, really, hopefully some of those injuries will clear up. I'm not up to speed with how they are, but we need all guns blazing next to get something out of Ashbourne, and we really need to next Saturday. The seconds again is at 12:30, and the first at 2 o'clock on Saturday.
Excellent stuff. All kept busy, yeah, and fingers crossed now things go to plan this weekend, Paddy, and thanks for updating us on everything Tullow, and of course thanks to Tom Crotty as well and James Blanchfield. And that will wrap up there, and we'll catch up with you next week, Paddy, and fingers crossed everything well. Thanks for joining us on the podcast.
Okay, Stephen, thank you. Talk to you next week.
Lovely stuff. Thanks, Paddy. Bye.